Moving on to the final movie for today, Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses from 2003. These two young couples traveling across the backwoods of Texas searching for urban legends of murder and end up as prisoners of a bizarre and sadistic backwater family of serial killers. I originally saw this one in the theaters to a pretty raucous crowd, I guess you could say, where people are throwing their M&Ms and not necessarily to do anything with the movie, just I think there was a lot of assholes in the crowd. I had mixed thoughts about the movie originally. I kind of liked it to a degree, but I still had reservations about how much I liked it. And then I've seen it a bunch of times since, and the last time I watched it, which was maybe a few weeks back, I had a really good time with it. I think especially with the Captain Spaulding scenes, Sid Haig's character in the movie is just all kinds of entertaining. Unfortunately, the majority of his scenes are towards the beginning. Not to say that the other characters aren't interesting themselves. He's just the best character in the movie.
Yeah, I'm much in the same vein. The first, 3 or 4 times I saw this movie, I didn't really care for it that much. I was a kid at the time, it just seemed so random. Like the random clips thrown in that have no context and no relation to the actual plot. It's just too weird for me at the beginning. But the more I watched this, the more I sort of appreciated the style. And I know that some people think it's a bit much, but I don't know, it just adds something special to the movie. It just very random, interesting stuff. Some of it's like ramblings from the Firefly family members. And some of it's like people talking about this woman who had lower relations with a skunk ape and stuff. It's like all over the place, but it's never boring. Then of course, there's a lot of memorable characters like Captain Spaulding, like Otis, who's very striking. I think is a very interesting character. And then by the end of Dr. Satan, and that whole ending is like a complete wild ride. So I don't know. I think there's a lot in this movie to really appreciate, and I definitely like it a lot more nowadays than I used to.
Yeah, I mean, there's characters all over the place in this one. It does seem a little messy. I know there was a lot of production type issues going on as well in terms of the movie getting released, so I think that probably attributed to it a little. One of the characters in the movie that I kind of really enjoy, well, you don't get to see too much of him, but I think his name was Earl. He's basically like, he kind of looks like the guy from My Bloody Valentine, but on steroids. Like a mutated version of, what's his name? Henry Warden, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just, I can't remember if he had a pickaxe or not, but he just had a very similar look, but obviously much huger. That moment when you kind of see a guy like that coming after you, like, oh shit. I'm so surprised that she managed to kind of get away from him. He just looked like he was on the warpath.
Yeah, I think probably one of the most striking moments in the movie, and there are quite a few, but that scene in which there are, detectives at the Firefly house once interviewing or trying to interview the mother. The other two are sort of trying to look for any evidence of wrongdoing, and then it hits they find some stuff, and then it hits like a sort of a slow motion when there's like a really slow moving sound in the background, and it just all out chaos and sort of a happy sound playing, and it just ends in like a pretty tense. I'm like, oh my god, is this guy going to shoot him? And of course he does. It's just a very nice scene.
Yeah, the pause in that is just, yeah, it's even a little much, perhaps, but
it should have been twice as long.
It was like at least 30 seconds where you're almost wondering if the movie's somehow frozen.
Yeah, I sort of wonder how people in the theaters reacted to that. Like they're just like sitting there for the first 10 seconds, like, wait, is he actually going to do anything? It's some
plot twist. The next 20 minutes is just this one frame.
I think eventually people would leave, but And also this is a controversial opinion. I actually sort of like Sherry Moon in this movie. Her character Baby is, I mean, she's obviously batshit insane, but she's interesting. She's novel, not entertaining, but I think she does the character justice.
Yeah.
Now that said, I still much prefer either Otis or Captain Spaulding, but I mean, Baby was okay.
Yeah, I think she's fine in this movie as well. And I'm guessing you haven't seen the most recent one, Three from Hell.
I have not seen that one yet, though I've heard pretty underwhelming things.
Well, I think there's a lot of mixed feelings on that one. I personally thought it was pretty decent, and especially Sherry Moon's character in it. I think she was actually, her scenes are probably the more entertaining in the movie. She really plays a whole mentally insane type thing pretty well in that movie. But anyways, I won't talk too much about that.
And yeah, also one thing that really strikes me about this movie, the first few times I saw this movie, it just seems so strange. But toward the end, there's a few characters alive, and they're sort of marched out to sort of like a burial type thing. There's like this sort of electronic industrial music playing, and it's like they get lowered into this pit in a coffin, and it just the whole thing is somewhat creepy, especially with like this I think it's like a tape recorder, and it keeps saying like you will bury me in an unnamed grave and stuff, and it's very I don't know, very dark feeling, and of course from that point on, like it becomes almost like more psychedelic than it had been before, which I thought was sort of impressive.
Hmm. It's a pretty unconventional movie, and I think that helps to really make it stand out. Even to this day, it there's not a whole lot of movies you could say that are like this one. And I mean, for anyone who actually owned the original DVD, probably the best DVD menu of all time.
Which DVD menu are you talking about?
It's the one where Captain Spaulding's basically talking a bunch of shit while you're waiting to select something.
Yeah, that is the DVD I have, and it just cracks me up.
Yeah, I can't remember. I still have. I mean, the Australian DVD has the exact same menu, and I've still got that DVD, even though I've got the Blu-ray as well.
Like every time I pick the DVD, and I just want to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I know I'm under time constraints, so I have to watch the movie. But I just want to keep watching him talk to us. It's just fun stuff.
I'm assuming someone's put it on YouTube by now, but if they haven't, I can always rip the DVD menu off and upload it myself.
Yeah, it's very like quality. You just see things like that often. They definitely went above and beyond with that DVD copy.
I mean, they obviously filmed that stuff in anticipation for it, so it's some good thinking ahead of time.
Now, out of interest, is this one of your favorite Rob Zombie movies, or do you like Devil's Rejects more?
Um, I think I like this more than the Devil's Rejects. I still think Devil's Rejects is decent as well, but I'd probably go with this one just because it's a little more. It's got more of a horror aspect to it. How do you feel?
I don't disagree that this has a much more horror aspect. It's more like after a while. I've always been like I said, I used to not like this one nearly as much as I do now, but I've always liked the Devil's Rejects for. I mean, it's a lot more conventional, but I think it's a very solid movie. Both of them are very high above average, but I always lean toward Devil's Rejects, but I enjoy both of them.
Yeah, I think most people probably tend to lean towards Devil's Rejects, but over time, like I said, I think House of a Thousand Corpses is actually catching up a little.
Yeah, and I know that when this came out, there's a lot of like mixed feelings toward it, and over the last few years, well, I guess last 10 years, I've been hearing more and more positive things about it. So I am happy that it's finally sort of receiving, I guess, a lot more, I guess, respect toward it. I am giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. And I had to think about this for a while. I'm probably going to round that down to an 8, but it's still it's definitely a movie that's above average. Very interesting movie, and even if you don't like the movie, like like I said, first 3 4 times I saw it, I didn't really like it that much. Even if you don't like it, you're not going to forget it.
Mm.
So I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a movie that I enjoy. I had a blast watching it again. I watched it a few days ago. First time I saw it in like 2 or 3 years, so I had a blast doing that. And it's just a really fun movie. Good stuff. Would recommend.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. I have pretty much the exact same thoughts. I think it's a movie that's gotten a bit better with age. It's got a lot of interesting characters. Captain Spaulding's really cool, really funny. Yeah, it's good. It's a good mixture of comedy and uneasy moments, and obviously a lot of batshit crazy horror stuff. So it's got a lot of stuff going for it, and I just think it's a really entertaining movie.
That said, we could both be wrong, so if you want to tell us how wrong we are, let us know.
We're not wrong.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm never wrong. I don't know about this guy.
I am often wrong if you read any of my reviews, but
Yeah.